Hi, I'm Samuel Rogers and this is my game Cathedral. I chose to do a level based on the tower theme because it would allow me to explore grand medieval architecture and interesting lighting effects. The objective of the game is to make your way through the level and open the cathedral's main doors using a key. There are a series of other keys and doors to unlock on your way to your final goal. The player starts the level with a letter describing why they are there and what their objective is. In the distance, the player can see the location of their final goal, the cathedral. The player then makes their way through the first area. I wanted this to be a relaxing place for the player, so I included grass and trees that sway in the wind, and I made the sunlight bright so it would contrast with the next area, the cave. I made the grass by hand painting the blades onto a PNG and setting the materials blend mode to masked, then plugged in a simple grass wind node into the world position offset and setting its input numbers until it looked how grass would move. The player eventually arrives at the first locked door. They will get a message informing them of their next objective, to find a key. This key can be found on a barrel nearby, introducing the player to the main game mechanic, finding keys and opening doors. Once the player has located the key, they can then make their way to the corresponding door and open it by pushing the E button. Now the door is open, the player makes their way into the tunnel, where they will find a means to light their way. They see a torch perched on a rock. They can pick this up by again pushing the E key. I got this to work by the player overlapping a sphere and creating a widget to say that they can pick it up, then making a torch already in the player's hand set to visible and destroying the actor. Once through the tunnel, the player will arrive at the entrance to the basement. They can explore this area before making their way to the cathedral's interior. For the mist in the basement, I used the same technique for the god rays but made the light shafts into wide tubes and overlapped them next to each other. The effect is that there are layers of mist, giving the basement a gloomy feel. I used a depth fade node to make the mist fade as you approached it. Once at the exit of the basement, the light levels increase so that the torch is now unnecessary. The torch now slips away and disappears. I used this code to make it do that. I set it to swing behind the player, then set the visibility to off so that it has a nice animation rather than just disappearing. Once inside the cathedral, the player's next objective is to find the red key. They can find this on the pipe organ. This will force the player to look at the art assets before continuing. After they find this key, they then make their way over to the other side of the cathedral to find and open the red door. The door is opened by rotating around the Z-axis 90 degrees using a set world rotation node and a timeline. On this timeline is a 3-second loop that gradually opens the door. When the player gets to the upper level of the cathedral, they can get a much better view of the architectural layout of the level and assess where it is they might be exploring next. One thing I'm particularly pleased with is the god rays. I made them by panning 2 images of smoke over each other in the material editor, then applying that to a tube shape the same radius as the window and applying it towards where the sun would be. I placed the walkways in a path that closely follows the edges of the cathedral. This is to show the player the best angles of the interior whilst also giving them a closer view of the art assets. For the overall journey that the player takes, I wanted them to first see their goal, then go through many different areas before getting ever closer to the end. I wanted the player to feel a sense of accomplishment when they finally achieve their goal. The final key can be found on top of the tower. This is to symbolise their achievement using physical height as a metaphor. After they get down the stairs, they have another chance to explore around the interior. The player can now open the last doors and complete their goal, then the game will end.